So a weird thing happened to me the other day when I finished Bioshock. I was sitting there kind of trying to figure out what made that game so awesome. And I was kind of at a loss for words. I couldn't really figure out what exactly stood out about the game that really made it amazing. It took a couple days of thinking and kind of going back and playing a little more. And it really is just more than the sum of its parts. It's more of a piece of interactive fiction than a game. It tells this really amazing story that you want to see through, that you feel emotionally invested in, and it has a really good plot twist and payoff at the end.
It's just you and me and all the tasty Adam I can drink.
The setting of Bioshock is this city called Rapture, and it's this underwater city that was apparently built sometime in the 40s. And has a very kind of Art Deco style to it as a result. You're getting there in 1960 by way of a crash landing plane. How does this plane crash? Right where this lighthouse is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and you find your way down to the city? Well, that's one of those mysteries that kind of drives you right into the game right off the bat. As you enter this city via a bathysphere, you're presented with this kind of thrill ride theme park look at the city, with the city's creator, Andrew Ryan, in a pre-recorded message telling you about how amazing it is and how he's created this city that's free from governmental oversight and free from the morality of organized religion getting in the way of science. So everyone's just running hog wild at full speed. And when you actually get down into the city, you see that something has gone horribly, horribly wrong.
Stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong.
There are these guys called splicers, these genetically mutated freaks, just kind of running around like junkies in need of a fix, trying to get you and get everyone, really. Those junkies are looking for a substance called Adam, and this substance is kind of a genetic building block that makes a lot of things possible. So you have things called plasmids. They're actually altering the human genetic code to let you shoot electricity out of your arm, or fire, or wind, or ice, or bees. You also encounter tonics, and whereas the plasmids are the more active effects of Adam, the tonics are more passive in nature. And how these work is you can slot them and go to these different gene banks around the city and kind of move them around at will to kind of respec your character as you go. And these enhance your character in interesting ways. You can purchase more slots for this stuff as you go, so you can slot more items and more plasmids and really kind of trick out your character. Of course, you will have more conventional weapons in addition to the plasmids and tonics that you'll find. You get a wrench right away, and that's your melee attack. You'll also find a pistol and machine gun right off the bat, and then later on you'll get a shotgun, grenade launcher, and some more kind of basic conventional weapons. Using the plasmids is definitely more exciting than using the conventional weaponry, which none of it's really all that satisfying, and doesn't really do that much damage. You'd think you would expect a shotgun to really lay a guy out if you hit him with it up close, and while that does do it at the beginning of the game, the later splicers you encounter just don't seem to take very much damage, even though they don't look any different to the enemies that you're facing early on in the game. And as a result, the combat feels a little weak at times. Though you do find plasmids and tonics strewn about the world, your primary method of acquiring these things is by buying them at vending machines. But you don't buy them with money. There are vending machines that you can use money on to get more ammo and real basic things like that. But at these vending machines, you actually need Adam. And you get Adam from these little girls that are walking around the environment. And they're called Little Sisters. And they've been genetically modified to seek out Adam and harvest it. Now, because every single splicer and every single person left in Rapture wants Adam, they're pretty highly sought after targets. That's why they're all guarded by Big Daddies, which are the toughest enemy in the entire game. They're these big, lumbering golems, heavily armored, heavily armed, that will do anything it takes to try and protect these girls. The girls, by the way, are pretty much totally invulnerable to your attacks when you do see them walking around the world. You have to take the Big Daddy out first. And after doing so, you then get to deal with the girl as you see fit. And that's where you get to make the choice between whether you want to be selfish or selfless. Basically, it boils down to, do you want to kill this girl and get the maximum amount of Adam out of them? Or do you want to free them from this kind of cursed, modified state that they're in, return them to a basic human form, which, you know, has the emotional impact of making you feel really good inside, but doesn't give you as much Adam? There are story considerations to consider as well, and it's probably the most powerful segment of the entire game, is trying to figure out, you know, what to do about these girls.
No! 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 No!
So there'll be plenty of guys standing in your way as you try to get to the end of Bioshock, but you're never going to be terribly confused about how exactly to get there. The game is very linear in its focus. It has a goal structure that points out very clearly exactly what you're supposed to be doing at any given time. This actually just works by putting an arrow right on the screen that tells you exactly where to turn down these paths. If that's not enough for you, there's a map screen that'll let you go in and see exactly, you know, how far you have to go to the goal, where the goal is, and where exactly you're going and how you're going to have to get there. And then if that's not enough, there's actually a really elaborate hint system where you can just touch a button and it'll tell you exactly what you're doing and where you need to go. It really discourages exploration, and the best part about Bioshock is that it creates this amazingly deep world that you want to go out of your way to explore. And there are instances where, you know, you just kind of start ignoring the arrow and you head off and see what's over there. They definitely make it worth your while to explore, but at the same time, they don't really ever encourage it, and the game seems really bent on keeping you focused on what you're supposed to be doing. Overall, Bioshock is a lot of different things. It's easy to look at it and go, oh, this is a really pretty first-person shooter, but you're missing the point. What Bioshock really is a mystery, and it's up to you to dig through this world, look through the rubble, and get to the bottom of this mystery. And how you get there is, in some ways, up to you. While it's maybe a bummer in some ways that the combat isn't a little more satisfying and that maybe there isn't a little more exploration, a little more to see, Bioshock is a really powerful adventure that really anyone should take a look at.